live from the city, Oakland, California. The Sweet Life, Chief Johnson, and I'm excited to be sitting down with my boy. We've been talking about this for a minute. Mani Draper.
What's up, brother?
My God.
Thank you, man.
Richmond, California.
Come on, man, all day. But I'm a fan of the show. I watched the show. Currency, one of my favorite rappers ever. So that episode in particular, and then getting to see the growth, the inception, like you storyboarding and production, bro. Like you really one of them. So
it's pretty crazy. Like when me and Malik were drawing it up, the vision. And I'm one of those people, like I think the corporate side of me over the past few years is like put together the deck because now I can visualize it.
Yep.
And to have like Currency and Alvin Kamara's like our first episode in New Orleans at the Superdome.
At the Superdome, it's crazy.
Man, I don't even think until after we left, I really was just like, damn, God is crazy.
Yeah.
He wild. But also to the point, like you said, when you have a plan, and we were talking about taste and tone,
man.
That was the vision we set out for. We didn't want, and nothing against, the mics on the table and all those different things, but we wanted something different in the space because I like to think I'm a fly dude, and aesthetically, I just always loved cinematography, and I respect like the production side of things, and I'm like, how can we create a moment that feels like from the jump, only thing it could do is elevate even more.
Come on. We was just talking about that, the leaving room for the growth. Like I did a podcast, 192 episodes, bro, but this is after watching Combat Jack and Mark Maron and Joe Budden do 500 episodes, not generating any revenue. Like they may have had some ads in here and like what Loudspeakers was trying to build, but IP is an investment, bro. Like you can't, like if you doing getting it out the mud, that's out of your pocket. It's your vision, and it's a lot of trust around. But you got to leave room for growth. And then when the chili come, don't go get fresh and all that. Put it back into the set. So your editors, like, man, you be surprised what you could do with a well-paid editing group, a film crew. It's like you could take over the world if you take care of them, feed them niggas. Like, like for real.
Content is king now.
Yeah.
But before we dive into that, man, I want to talk about you, Richmond, California, how we arrived at this moment, and a little bit about your background because I'm continue to learn more about you, and I think there's so much richness to your story that I don't even know yet. So I want to introduce the people to you formally and really start from there, and then from there we'll dive in more.
Man, it's really dope to be able to have platforms and space to speak about the backstory because it is just like the music is whatever, but it's like, bro, who are you? And Richmond is such an important part of my entire being. Richmond, California, for people that don't know, is like, Oakland, San Francisco, and in a large respect because of the financial part, the world knows San Jose and other pockets like that, but Richmond is like the heartbeat, if you will, of the Bay. That great migration of people coming from the South, specifically like Louisiana, like in landing, like of all places, landing in Richmond and continuing sort of that agricultural farm aesthetic energy, like really get it out the mud, build your house from scratch, build a car, like all these different things. And so you think about utility when you think about the city of Richmond and how that sort of shaped me as an artist and going forward and telling the story. But it's really for as far as like music is concerned, bro, this shit started with my mom and my dad. They were 21 and 23 when they had me. But you're talking about the golden era of hip hop. So we driving to school listening to Ghetto Boys, and I'm going to kindergarten, first grade, and knowing Willie D's lyrics rhyme like bar for bar, and what Scarface would eventually become as a solo entity. And being my dad's favorite rapper, and now one of my favorite rappers too, is just like to eventually find out bro was making them beats and playing the guitar and all this stuff. Like it makes sense in terms of what I've become as an artist and just kind of doing it all.
Yeah. So when did music, I don't know, as a passion, as a fan early on, but when did it become something where you're like, I actually want to adventure into this? And was it first on the music side, writing, or was it production? Like, what was it for you?
Man, it's since I can remember. Like, making pause tapes, but not knowing it was a pause tape. Like I had a little radio with a microphone input and the ability to record, bro. And I would just everything on the radio that I was obsessed with, I would just record it over and over again. And so that it started from there. And then you have my parents eventually bought their first house, and before my dad bought a couch, anything, he went and bought the Tower record player, like CD player, 6-disc changer, all this stuff. And so I was just sitting there, and it's like Dead Presidents, the soundtrack. Just those sounds. I'm like, bro, I think this is what I'm about to do for the rest of my life. But then you start to learn the overall story, and it was really when my dad connected the dots, the whole No Limit movement, and his best friend DJ GMS, shout out Unc. It was the first artist signed to No Limit. He was the DJ. He was P's DJ. Wow. When you see the first TRU tapes and he posing with his DJ, that's DJ GMS. That's my dad's best friend. And just being around that, GMS, he had a whole bunch of records. And I just remember the smell of it, his DJ coffin, and then Juice is out at the time, so it was really DJing first.
Yeah.
One of my classmates, his dad was a DJ. He was looking for an apprentice. He made me audition. I had to send an audition tape. And in the first 10 gigs, I was just his record guy. I would just carry the records and literally, bro. He had big ass towered speakers, his DJ coffin, and then probably 10, 12 crates that he just was dependent on that he would take right before he got his CDJs. And I was his assistant, bro. I would load the van, I would set everything up, and then he would give me 10 minutes at the end of the night to get busy. And then eventually, it was the school dance, and I was kind of getting frustrated because he was thinking he gonna let me get busy, and brother left and said, "You got it," and let me have a whole 8th grade dance. I was in 6th grade, and they let me DJ for the 8th graders, and I never looked back from there. Bro, it was okay, this is what I want to do.
Damn, that's what's up. Life in Richmond then was I know when people get a snapshot of the Bay Area, right? You think Oakland, you think pimps, you think. All those things. What was Richmond in contrast to the vibe in Oakland and SF?
That's a fire question because it is a unique difference. I think people the easiest way to shape it for the world is when you meet somebody from New York and they nah, bro, I'm from Brownsville. They don't say Brooklyn, they go out of their way to make sure they say Brownsville. And the Bay is a lot like that too, where it's you meet somebody from Oakland, they don't just say Oakland, they say they from the East. They from the West, they from the North, whatever they say, they make sure to add that. Richmond is like that too, but significantly smaller. It's such in the larger context of the world, Richmond's so small, bro, but to people that's from North or from the South Side or from Central, but my experience was so unique because my mom and them grew up in Central and then eventually moved to Montalvin, which is a suburb damn near Pinole, not even technically Richmond. And the same thing with my dad. They was on South Side proper, and then eventually, as grandma get a better job, whatever, she bought a house on the hill in Hilltop. So my dad and his crew was a Hilltop posse boy. So my lens of Richmond was so different than some of my partners because they were born in the street shit, for real. So they didn't leave. If you was from Central, you didn't go everywhere else. If you from the South Side, if you from Parkchester, bro, I was everywhere. I was baptized at a church in North. We did Thanksgiving at my auntie's house in Central. My dad family from the South Side. So I just knew Richmond as a playland, bro. We played at the MLK Center, played at Coronado, played at the Rec, everywhere. I didn't really understand the street politics because that wasn't my reality at all, bro. So I really grew up with this love affair of Richmond. Obviously, you hear the horror stories and the danger, but that just wasn't my reality. Our block, and this is sort of the emergence of the Mexican culture too. So my block was primarily Mexican. So then you add the black and brown aesthetic to it too, bro. And I just remember just feeling mad insulated and protected, and being a kid, riding bikes and building jumps and listening to music. It just was lit, bro. Growing up in Richmond as a kid, 90s, early 2000s was so fun, bro. It was so fun.
I think that kids these days almost are cheated out of the importance of being exposed to other cultures at a young age.
Yes.
I know growing up in Colorado was a stark contrast in growing up in New Orleans, right? Because Colorado, there's white kids, there's Hispanic kids, there's Asian kids, and I didn't see race in that sense because, I had close white friends and I had close black friends, but it helped me diversify my music,
Man, listen.
my palate and
That's
food,
the part.
sports, like all those things. And I think music was the key.
Yeah,
Like my sister was a little bit older and she was listening to Run DMC and LL and all that,
Right.
but she was also listening to Journey
Yes,
and
yeah.
Def Leppard and Pink Floyd and Phil Collins. So,
Man.
my palate and appetite was so diverse. And I feel like now the reason we have so much divide when it comes to even within our culture and hip hop is because we're not exposing the kids to everything else.
Man.
And if you don't, and it's completely fine if you don't like something sonically, that's fine. But you can't just be like, I don't like that because it's not of what. And I think we got to figure out as a culture, we've always led in everything, sports, music, fashion, how to teach the kids that it's okay to step culturally into other things, and have an open mind about that.
Man, it really, and that's so far. I got that from both of my grandmothers and my mom. They was just on other shit. Like from the time I came in the world, I think my mom's godparents are actually white. Like for real. Like that's the type of shit my grandmother was on when she migrated from Arkansas and landed in Richmond. But it starts with a knowledge of self and like a confidence that allows you to lean into learning and exploring other cultures. Like my grandma was on that earlier, like being extremely proud to be black, But I always saw her helping other people that didn't look like her. Like my grandma one of the flyest people I ever know, and I think I get the personable sort of political movement through the streets of just tapping in from her, because that was what she would do. Like she gonna go speak to the neighbor, the person across the street, or whoever's this, that, or she's gonna volunteer and be the leader of whatever, just to make sure we get what we supposed to. She not leaving no chili on the table. She going to get everything we supposed to have, because a lot of that information is hidden in some text somewhere. So she gonna read it and ask questions and all that stuff, but then that gives you the confidence to go to the family across the street if they have, if they having a quinceañera or whatever, and go pull up and really be immersed in the culture and try the food. Oh, I don't like that. You never had it, bro. How you don't like it if you ain't never had it? And we've gotten so indoctrinated to be like, oh, I don't like that, bro. You never even tasted it before. You don't know. And it's the same thing with X and 24-hour album reviews. It's almost better to be a part of the live conversation. It's like, yo, what's trending right now? I want my followers to go up, so I'm gonna be a part of the trending conversation. But you ain't even listened to the album yet to distill your own opinion. Like it don't matter if as an artist, if I send you my shit, you're like, Mani, I don't fuck with it, but you listen to it, I can live with that every day. But it's people around here that don't even listen, bro, and got whole think pieces on a art offering that you took your time with, and they didn't even take the time to listen, but they saw what was trending, they distilled what they wanted to from that, and then based off the popular opinion is what they went with, and now that's the conversation. And so art as a whole, not even just music, but film is suffering right now from people not even watching. Like I'll sit back, bro, my girl gonna kill me, but I roast her for it all the time. Her and her mom would be on the phone, and so they'll miss the bar, like the high action or the turning point. Like that's just part of the story, but it's those moments in between that tell the story. But you missed it because you was on your phone. Like that, like art is suffering because of people's attention being split, and art requires your full focus.
And I think even for albums, for me, you not only have to sit with it for a while, but then you got to take a month off and then revisit it again. Because like you said, you'll catch things you didn't catch before. So when I see people and they're like, an album comes out online and then within 20 minutes they're already like, this is the greatest album, or this is terrible. And it's like, wait, what? You just listen to the first 30 seconds or you looked at who was on it? And like you said, the consumers, they're not getting the full enriched, and it does a disservice to the creators and the people that are really putting in their hard work between it, because you don't understand behind the scenes it might have took somebody a year to make this project, 2 years, 3 years.
Man.
You know what I mean? And we want things so like microwavable,
Yep.
even with all the stuff that's going on with Drake and Kendrick and
Gotta
all that.
respond in 48. No, bro, that's not. Nah, man.
When is he ever? He'll take 2 years off
Right,
before he drops
right.
the album. And that's not because he's not working on his craft, but that's who he is as a person.
He's a Dr. Dre
Yeah.
descendant, and the snare gotta be snaring.
Yeah.
The low end gotta be there, and for people that have not had the privilege, because that's really what it is, that have not had the luxury to, like, there was a time during the pandemic where I could call Tone Capone every other day. Shout out to my OG, love, bro. But that's as a kid, that's from some of the first Sonics I remember making me feel something. So now to fast forward and be an artist myself and be able to talk to him, and we're just talking about life and all the things that go into the process. And you're like, damn, it really is a privilege to be a part of a production or a team and learn what a producer is.
Yeah.
I always thought the producer had to make the beat, and that's not the case. Unfortunately, and even the performer don't gotta write the song. Like the NWA was so successful because of DOC. DOC, the greatest ever, bro. But it's like, hey, you know what? You should say this. You
Yeah.
should do it like this. And Easy, vet.
Yeah.
No ego about it.
Yeah.
No shame about it. And some of the
Yeah.
most memorable hip hop moments are Eazy-E's voice, because he allowed one of the greatest one of the greatest writers in the world ever
Yeah.
to pen for him, bro.
Yeah, and I think it's just we live in a culture now where being in the background is scary for people because everything seems to need to be in the sun.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And but there's so many creatives on the back end. Those are the people that really, really make the machine
Make
work.
it go.
You know what I mean?
And make it go.
And it's very calculated. You know what I mean? Like it's not just go in the studio and write something in 10 minutes and then put it out. If you really care about your craft, you're gonna make sure like you're putting out the best product you can.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of amazing artists, and I just think we live in a microwave society where it's just like quick now. And imagine like somebody who isn't a part of that craft or doesn't do that, making you rush to put out a body of work. You know what I mean? You think any of these artists that are at that level are like, oh, I got to go see with Johnny in, Michigan. And he's telling me I got to respond in 7, It's just like, get out of here with that, man.
Yeah, no, that's real.
But you as a creative, man, I know, there's music, you're an artist, but I didn't know you've done so many other things behind the scenes.
Man.
Let's talk about some of that.
What rap has afforded, bruh, is to realize, like, all right, Damon, Biggs, and Jay, they start Rockefeller because they're going to those people going, yo, we think we got something, and they're telling them no. So they go, all right, bro, we'll just do it ourselves. And then in the process of doing it yourself, you realize you've consulted, you did the production, you did the marketing, you're the retail, like you've done every level, but you're just doing it out of necessity. And literally, bro, this is just a little boy that loved storytelling. When the Just Me and You record, the scene in Boys in the Hood, when it comes on, I'm like, wait, that's the Tonys. Like my little brain is going, oh wow. But visually, it's like the perfect time in the movie. Like what's happening? You know what I'm saying? You start connecting those dots, and now you're reading the liner notes. This person wrote this person played on it. And you're like, whoa, I can do it all. And a lot of it just came from wanting to see it done. But then you start to see how many artists suffer from just getting started. So bet, you know what? Yeah, I may have produced this for myself, but what if Chief working on the album, hey bro, can I just come be your A&R and go get you beats and make sure that the song gets done and hold you the deadlines, and then man, now that you did it, can I get you booked for a press run? Can I put you on this show? And it really, honestly, Chief, all that shit just happened out of pure necessity, bro. I promise it's not I do everything because it's some ego shit. I really love hip hop.
Yeah.
But hip hop is graffiti. It is DJing. It is, it's breakdancing. It's all these different things.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of misleading when people are like, man, you do a lot of stuff. It's like, nah, you had to be able to do everything to sort of get your crown at being a part of this culture. And then it's just morphed because now we got the digital tools, we got social media, and now it looks a little bit different. And the assets that artists need to even break through the noise of the algorithm are abundant, and it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to be resourceful and fearless and imaginative about how we made them things. And bro, we got here, and now I'm sort of finding power in owning it. Because it was, because people try to play you or try to finesse you out of how valuable that is. And so you're like, oh man, no, I'm just, nah, fuck that, bro. I do everything, bro. Yeah, you right. You goddamn right. Yep. Bet and better than people you paying ridiculous amount of money to because it's just the sauce. But what Guap say, you can be lost in the sauce. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people do get overwhelmed by how fast this thing moves.
I resonate so much with that, man, because I've always kind of been a proponent of shying away when somebody gave me my props, like, yo, you be doing, and I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, oh, it's all good.
Yeah, man.
And I've just really, since we've launched the podcast, been trying to just own that a little more and be more proud of myself. It's really about yourself, right?
Yes.
And not so much about like the ego or pride. It's about like, damn, I actually do deserve this because I put in the work, right? I didn't know how to do this. I learned how to do it. I didn't understand how to do that. I learned those things. And you have to have pride in yourself because that's what people see and that's what people gravitate towards.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
this media revolution has spawned that though, right? So podcasts, specifically podcasts too, because the formula, there's no formula for success yet. Oh, there is, but because they haven't been able to like make it public and replicate it over and like guarantee a return. A legacy artist like a Joe Budden doesn't make sense to anyone because they're like, if you weren't checking for him prior to, you wouldn't know that he was doing original IP from the jump. And so this isn't derivative from anything he's been doing. He was on Hot 97 already, and so now in this new landscape media space where it's dependent upon captivating an audience, relationships, you being authentic from the soil, they're trying to replicate that metric of success, and you can't.
You can't.
So when Chief goes, I'm doing a show, and can get like factors to come pull up and have very vulnerable, one-of-a-kind conversations, it's like, bro, wait a minute, what? It's like, nah, I'm really from this shit for real.
yeah.
And so I'm grateful for this space where now, where people are panicking, budgets are drying up and all this stuff. And so like we were talking about off mic, it's like now you gotta come with it for real. You gotta really be able to show and prove. You gotta be able to make a phone call. You gotta be able to get access to the Superdome. Like, nah, bro, this, you know what I'm saying? I'm grateful for this landscape now because it's really gonna separate the noise from what is truly here to stay. And that spectrum is so vast too, right?
Yeah.
But you know what's what, what's authentic, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's lit right now, bro. Anybody, a lot of the real estate gurus during the pandemic and the recession is like, yo, that's when you buy. Right now, artists, this is when you create. This is when we see who's real. It's like, oh, hip hop didn't chart all last year. Okay, then that will explain the rap battle then, right? Yeah. Everybody's invested. We got rap album, Ye's #1, then Future and Metro come #1, then Like That lives at #1 as a single. Like, bruh, like a lot of this shit is so strategic.
Yeah.
If you just peel back the extra layer,
Yeah, and you lean into it.
Yep.
Like, I remember when we first started, everybody's like, there's so many podcasts. And it's like, I'm my own competition. And it's about what you bring to the space.
And competition is great for the overall
it's great
market.
for it.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me I don't have a voice in the space because I don't talk. Like, I moved to LA 20 years ago to do music.
Right.
And within that time, we had signed a record deal. We came out with an album. We toured. I worked in the height of streetwear.
Come on, man.
And I'm close friends with a lot of people that are really on top now. And I don't I don't talk about that much because I don't need somebody else to be my calling card.
Right.
But the testament is when we go and we sit down with these people. It's not because I'm like, hey, this is Chief. I got $1,000 for you to come. It's because the relationship is there. We talk about proximity.
Yes, sir.
Proximity is great, but you also got to know what to do with your proximity.
Man, listen.
And there's a lot of people that can be in proximity of like tons of people and they're at all the events and they're partying with stars. But if you don't offer nothing in the space, and it doesn't always have to be financial, the proximity don't matter.
Yep.
You know, so these are all like tools. And when we set out with the podcast, it was just like, this is what we want to be about. We want about deploying tangible tools to people and hopefully they grasp onto that. And it's not just about moments of like, you know, old school things or like sharing old stories. Those things are great because it paints the picture. But the gems, like you said, is when you watching that movie and it's that thing that you're like, oh, that ties everything together.
And it's a blip. It'll be a quick cut to something, but if you blink, you'll miss it.
Yeah.
But then that gives you agency or license to go, man, that shit was trash. Nah, bro, you missed the bar.
You missed it.
And I like how exclusive art is too. Because if you just miss it, you just left out. And so you can have your opinion, you can rant and rave why you didn't like something, but then there's this, Khaled and Tyler are my favorite example of that. Khaled was genuinely confused how he lost the album of the year to Tyler, the Creator. He's like, bro, he don't even have a big fan base. Yeah, because you not paying attention. But what Odd Future means to the last 15 years of not just music, you're talking about fashion, you're talking about performance, and like some of the best tours and some of the biggest moments in art have come from one collective.
Yeah.
So fast forward 15 years later, when you up against them, you like, oh, this is a shoe-in. No, it ain't, bro. Because everybody that knows what that kid has been accomplishing. So Khaled, you sleep. You exposed. Khaled says so much about himself in that whole exchange. It's like, bro, you didn't know that Tyler, the Creator, was gonna wash you? You didn't know?
Like you said, he made like from festival, from fashion, streetwear, like he's to me like he's a legend.
Yeah.
Because I'd seen it. I seen it firsthand, you know, being in LA and being in Fairfax and like what they were able to build.
Right.
But that's also somebody who has a vision of where they want to be.
Come on.
What they want to be as a collective.
Come on, bro.
And truly rooted in who he is. Absolutely. And when you stand in that, can't nobody move you off of that. You might hit some bumps and some things. You might question some things, but when you rooted in what you know, you are confident to continue to push in that direction.
Absolutely, bro.
And that's truly key, man. Wanted to dive into the music. The last project, 33. Ooh. Man, I was listening to that again the other day. And you and Stephen King is the combo the world needs to know about. So far. But what was the vision, behind the album, the content, and, the space you were in during that time when you were recording that?
Just what you said, like rooted in self. So I've been, making project after project, and it was all mad general. It was just rap. Mm-hmm. Pandemic happens, and everybody's scrambling. And I'm like, well, shit, man, I'm about to just record. And there was a pivot in just watching what the world was doing and what it was resonating with, where it's like, bro, what do I have to lose by being extra personal and extra vulnerable and very specific about what I'm seeing, feeling, and experiencing right now? Like, tell my true first-person story. And I can honestly say it was the first time I had accomplished that, but to your point, Stephen King, Stephen Anderson, his beats just provided that landscape. They were mad unique. Like they mob, but they're slow, and that's a lot of the feedback I've been getting over the career. It's like, man, your beats kind of slow. It ain't really turn up, and I'm like, yeah, and so 33 was the first time where I feel like there was a perfect blend of like tempo, variety, and then just go off and do your thing. And so it was just real strategic in that way. But the overall 33 concept was like, at the time, bro, it was like, we had started a year before, and I was trying to make an ode to my brother, who would have been 33 at that time. But as you know, as the world has it, delays and everything that are beyond your control, and so now we a year later, and what's 33 mean now? And it was my 33rd birthday, and I'm like, oh, and I was just having that realization in therapy, like, spend a lot of time worried about other people as a distraction from what you need to take care of for yourself. Like, you can't really, the whole theory of put the mask on the airplane first on you so then you can go help is a real bar for life, bro. You be so wrapped up in other people's shit and your life falling apart. It's like, nah, bro, slow down and go get your shit together. Focus on you. Dissect, just look in the mirror, all the other stuff. And so 33 was just it's the reflection, right? The infinite. You flip it and it's a reflection. And that's really what it was for me. It's like I was looking in the mirror and I was working on myself and I was talking to myself, bro. And I'm grateful that it resonated with so many people the way that it did, because it was for me.
Yeah.
You know, when you're younger and you don't eat something and your parents say it's people starving in Africa, so you just naturally diminish your own situation and be like, man, somebody got it better, worse or better or whatever, and so you don't really do the work to go heal you. And so just watching people that you already admire from afar, who seemingly have it together, go, nah, don't go get therapy when it's too late. Go get it before some catastrophic shit actually happened. It really empowered me to go seek out the tools. My sis Janae Nicole, shout out to her. Like, she sent me the directory for black therapists, bro. And I was like, damn, and that was really important. It changed everything to speak to somebody black for one, and then go through the process of finding the right person and be like, I don't know if it's gender specific, but for whatever reason, I eventually landed with a black woman and just felt, I don't know, bro, I just felt like I was getting the most bang for, the commitment, because it is a commitment. Like, it ain't overnight, and it's actually hard because you got to break down some walls and start admitting some stuff that you wasn't willing to even take ownership of or even acknowledge might be a pain point, you feel me? So, I don't know, bro, I just was tired of waking up sad every fucking day. I was like, let's go do something about it, basically.
Yeah, and I think also too with therapy, right? People, obviously the first step, making that first step to actually going, but actually listening, and it's not just a dumping ground for your problems and you walk away. You actually have to, put those things into play that you
use.
actually,
And then but I'm glad you asked, like, how it may have impacted the art. That's around the time when 33 is happening, and now I'm exploring dimensions of my own truth that I just you wouldn't even think putting on wax. You feel me? Like, that was never part of the rap machismo aesthetic. Like, why would you talk about that? And it's like, actually, you know what? Let me say that. And so now some of the conversations, some of the DMs I get from other black men that are like, yo, bro, thank you, for real. And it's like, man, it means a lot to even serve as a vessel in that way, because it's a lot of us suffering in silence, and we don't have to, because you're not alone. Like, some of the things you experience and that you go through, you can kind of chalk to the game, or it's like it's just me, and I promise you it's not. Or somebody going through something very identical or similar that you can really, and it's probably somebody in proximity, in your cipher that's going through it, that are also like, man, I don't have nobody to talk to, but it's empowered me to tap in with my bros. Hey, bro, you just checking on you, just thinking about you.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing, I don't need nothing. You don't got to pull up to the studio. I just want to make sure you straight. Like,
check-in is important.
That
check-in.
The check-in.
Yeah. That check-in. Because I know sometimes as men, it throws you off when somebody hits you and they just checking in. Because you automatically think like, oh, somebody might want something. But people always ask, like, how have you maintained your relationships throughout the years? And I'm like, the check-in. Like, yo, just thinking about you. Just want to make sure you're good.
And that tool is powerful. That innate pull where you wake up, or you hear a song, or you smell something, or you see something. You go, man, I wonder what. Hey, bro, just man, it's really my rap homies. Like, Roger just called me out the blue. Hey, bro, I was thinking about you. It's like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
This was listening to, like Dandelion Root. I wake up to that song every morning, and bruh just like, man, I'm like, hey, bro, your song just went off, you know, like it's magical that way, for real.
Crazy. What are some songs, in the previous years? I mean, it could be now, it could be 10, 15 years ago,
Yeah.
that kind of put that battery in your back, or center you, or like, you might be feeling like in a spot where you're not feeling as creative. Like, what are some of your joints that you're just like,
Dang. I guess I could speak to the newer stuff. There's a song I produced for Art the Jerk, Kevin Allen now, called Franklin Saint, and that is two versions. There's a studio version and then there's a live version. 18 piece band to recreate the sample and to explore a different dimension in the sample. So just the juxtaposition of those two records, like if I'm having a bad day, I can put that on and go, damn, I'm leaving the world with this. So career-wise, whatever Grammy, Platinum, whatever, it's like I did this, bro. Like at some point. So just on some personal
yeah,
me, but outside of me, this last album I'm working on, one of the reference albums was Sue the Right Thing. I Am Sue's like first like real project. Oh, maybe not his first one, but to me it's one of the first ones. But even the fearlessness and the sound, like they created a sound. They were babies though. Pilo and JN and Kuya and Chief, like they were babies when they were making that music. But
yeah,
it 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 would go on to later shape an entire sound. And so that and that don't even exist on streaming. I have that
I
on
was
a
gonna say,
drive.
you
Yeah,
got, you got,
yeah, I got that on a drive. I just play that. I seen Wiz just announced Cushion OJ2, the original Cushion Orange Juice, not the one that hit DSPs, but the original one is like one of my favorite things. Just makes me feel good.
yeah,
And on some cheesy shit, not cheesy, but my mom is my greatest inspiration musically. I got a mini Rippleton playlist that's crazy. That just reminds me of her and can
yeah,
kind of make me feel better on just some
yeah.
different shit.
That's dope.
A lot of gospel. My mother-in-law now, that's her bag. Like she'll wake up and put gospel on. So we've been listening to a lot of that, and it's actually I'm working on producing a gospel EP for a gospel artist right now because of it though, because it's like it's like damn, I really want to do this. And then the Kirk Franklin's documentary last year
Yeah,
really opened my eyes to just like how related all of it is.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
could totally do it. You know, I've done house, I've done Afro, I've done all these things, and it's like, yeah,
That's dope.
gospel's the next step.
That's dope. Speaking of like music and in the Bay, you mentioned Sue and Pilo and
Yeah.
Chief and all them.
Yep.
And I don't want to compare like where music is now to where it was back then. My introduction, of course, was 40 and Short and a lot of those artists. But when I started really doing music myself, it was Hyro, it was
Man.
Dell, it was a lot of them. And I think we
Man.
talked about, because 33, without us even knowing, we were talking about Pep Love, and you're like, yo, he's on my album. And
Yeah.
he's still one of my upper echelons of just MC in
Shout
general.
out
But
Pep, man.
where do you see, let's start with where you see the music now up here, and the evolution of it, and where you might feel it is.
Man, that's a excellent question, Chief. Cause it isn't one answer. I feel like my answer change every day. Cause I'll build a relationship with my latest project is with Scando the Dark Lord, who's Neff the Pharaoh's brother. Neff, one of my favorite rappers. We just never connected. I wanted, like, people know Neff for the sauce. Neff can rap his ass off. So
Yeah.
when I got to tell him that, like, nah, bro, you really be gassing. He was like, looking at me like, no, nah, bro. Like but also Tajay was at the studio the other day. So it's like, for me, it's different because the whole spectrum, whether they people consider them a street Bay rapper or a conscious backpack rapper, whatever, I feel like the Bay, you got to be able to do all of it.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So I like that. What me and my crew serve as, shout out Mike Nichols did an article on us and he called us the bridge. Like we're the bridge from the Hyro family tree, but also Short and 40, and for whatever reason, but those sub genres have been segregated for whatever reason. Like people ain't thought to make music together, throw festivals together, do get bread together, whatever. But it's like, nah, bro. If we all come together, we unstoppable. Like the amount of influence that our OGs have had on the world. Soul's just left for tour.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Like Soul's just left for tour with Cypress and they running it up. Pilo's dominating shit right now.
Yeah.
Simba is Simba. Russell's the Russell. Neff what Big Rich and his wife got planned for Neff and what they've been building. Shout out FNG in the city. Like it's so many amazing artists doing incredible things. Lil Kayla. Like I'm more hopeful and optimistic, I guess, than you would hear more people speak about it. Like you hear all the platforms go, oh, you know what's wrong with the Bay? The Bay don't work. That ain't been my experience, bro.
Yeah.
Like I get a lot of love out here, and I feel obligated to extend the same love because Opio and Pep they put me in Irk Up in LA and let us record there.
Yeah.
You know, we can Short and Poke are like, man, y'all come on. Like you like.
Yeah.
Pilo like, bro, here, I'm gonna produce your whole thing. Raj like, come on tour. Like I haven't experienced the baby hating on each other stuff that you hear, that continuous narrative. That has not been my experience. The studios are awesome. The engineers are great. You know, some shit don't always go your way, but that's just part of the game. But for the most part, bro, this shit lit. And I think the next part really is solidifying the connectivity so that we can retain a lot of the equity that we're generating, because people are coming here and getting the sauce and taking it everywhere else and making money. Like you can go to Atlanta and run up a bag. You can go to New York. You can go to Houston. You can go down to LA. You know, you can go out the country. You can go back. You know what I'm saying? But for whatever reason, staying here and reinvesting in the soil doesn't feel like a viable option. And it's not because people don't want to. It's definitely not because people don't want to, but it's because they're not incentivized to or even protected. But those tax incentives are a real fucking thing for people that's touching bread. So if I can go triple my investment elsewhere, it's just smart business. So the Bay as a whole got to open its doors and wrap its arms around our creatives, so they're incentivized to stay.
Yeah, because it feels like, you know, the Bay and LA they're so close, but it feels like different worlds. But even with the same, I think with LA artists, right? There's tons there, but it feels like sometimes you have to step outside of that to even be successful. So the camaraderie maybe doesn't feel that way, but internally it could feel, you know, a lot better, because you know, everybody talks about the dominance, right? Like New York had their era and the Bay had their era and Atlanta, but it really feels like now it's really open for everyone. There's sometimes I'm like, I don't even know where this artist is from. Like
more times than not,
you know what I mean? Like I'm like, is he from Detroit? Is he from LA? Is he from the Bay? So you know, it's good to hear that some of those moves are being made. But you know, I would love to see like every year, like how Tyler has his festival. Like there should be a Bay Area festival, and there's enough amazing artists, like you said, to bridge that gap. But it's like gonna take somebody to pull that together. And I know there's pillars here that could do that. But it's exciting, man, and it's dope that you feel that love, you know. Speaking, you know, staying on the music, you know, the projects, you know, you have a lot of things in the works, a lot of things that are out. Like, what are some things you're excited about? I know Grand Nationxl just released the mixtape. Let's talk about it.
I'm excited about it all, bro. Like the group effort with shout out Deuce, Pass, and Kev, and then even beyond the people you may see musically, Danielle, our creative director, and now a DJ on the squad, and you know, and shout out Janelle, who is cultural strategist, but he's a creative in his own right, and Tim House, who's, you know, management and tour logistics, but is a creative in his own right. Like we got a really awesome team, and it's dope to be a part of that, and it's hard not to be inspired. So the Grace mixtape, even the rollout of it, or the creation of it in 2 days. We made that shit in 2 days, man. But that undermines a lifetime of dedication from the whole collective to be able to pull all these resources together and execute. And that's really what's been being unlocked. It's like, damn, I'm looking at like Messy Marv's run from like '05 to whatever, you know what I'm saying? Where it
Yeah.
was he might pop up with a solo, him and Quinn go do something, him and Juice go do something real quick. Like and that's kind of what I really want to replicate that blueprint, because I'm gonna produce for Jane, and it's probably gonna be R&B, modern, whatever. But I'm gonna spin over here, do something with Tyler Reese. I'm gonna go over here, do this Scando project. I'm gonna do the group project, and then I'm gonna spin back with a solo. And then by the time you look up, I done did 10 projects in a year, bro. And
Yeah.
it's and you get that feedback like, man, it's hard to keep up. That's for you, but it's
Yeah.
it's a few people that's really tapped in with me every step of the way, and I'm so excited, bro. So even as the rest of this calendar year plays out, still got 5 projects on the books that's
Yeah.
gonna come out, and I'm excited. Last night we did some mixing on this next run of songs, and the strategy is what I'm excited about right now.
Yeah.
Like growing the followership and the fan base and the support, and then getting outside of the region, bro. Like tour really opened my eyes to like the world really love what we do.
Yeah.
And you got to go make yourself uncomfortable. Like there's a complacency factor that comes with walking. You can walk through downtown, Mani, I love you. You know, like that shit can go to your head.
Yeah.
Nah, go to L.A. and try to be big dog in that ocean down there.
Yeah.
It's bro, you stump, but it feels like that in the Bay too. You can just be walking and stumble into one of your heroes for real.
Yeah.
And that's really the play. It's like, hey, bro, ain't no man above the program. Nobody's above the art. Like, give the art everything and watch what you get back. And that's really the mission. So when people see it and they see like, oh, it's hella work. Nah, I'm really in it for real. Like,
Yeah.
bro, every morning I get to go to the studio. I treat it like a gig, bro. Get the coffee, get in that motherfucker, turn it on, light an incense, turn the candles on, bro, and work. Like, work. And it's paying off, bro. It really is.
Nah, I like talking about, just getting out and seeing the world. I've been keeping up a lot with G-Eazy
Yep.
and the fact that he's in New York and he be in the subway, he at the Yankees game, he just at normal places,
Yeah.
and it's just a level of like, I'm sure that was uncomfortable at the beginning, like, damn, are people gonna be like harassing me, are people gonna be in the mix, but also too, really embracing your environment.
Come on, bro.
And if you went out there for inspiration, you
Go
got to
get
be outside to get that inspiration, you know. And traveling is one of those beautiful things where you just get to experience like culture. I mean, even here, right? Like, I don't spend a lot of time in Oakland. You got dancing going on, you got birthday parties, people roller skating, but you also see like the city, how much the city is changing
Bro.
and developing, and you could pull inspiration from all of it. You know what I mean? But that's great, man. And then I don't know if it's too early to talk about your solo project.
Nah, you're the perfect person to talk
But
to.
I want to hear about that.
I wanted to again, off the reception of 33. I won't even say the success of 33 because that's mad relative, but how the people have made me feel as far as 33 is concerned, and that being sort of my last solo offering, bruh, I just wanted to double down on the sonics of it, and I love being from the Bay. That funk, that mob, like that's just me through and through. Like when you hear them synth bass notes and them drums is doing that, and you can play it with your shorty in the car. But also, if you and the fellas mobbing, y'all about to have a night, like it just transcends all those different settings. If you on the way to Napa on some player shit, but if you about to go out and mob, like if you on the boat at the lake, like it's just thinking about all those worlds, and that's really, shout out Janelle, shout out the Wodies, like everybody that helped me with this offering. It's just a mature, I love that hip hop is being able to mature, and have different conceptual identities in the music, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to buy my girl a house and get married and all this shit. Like, bro, who's saying that in a record type shit?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to have conversations about it and play it for people. It's like watching old videos of Ye playing the music for people, and he looking them dead in their face, like
Yeah, I want to see.
and for so long I would play it and like either put my shades on or put my head down and not look at their reaction. Now I press play and I'm like, I get it now. I get it because the bounce is so intentional. You like, man, I just want to make sure they bouncing the same way I was when I was making it. And the first single we performed at the museum a couple nights ago, and me and shout out Bennett from the Woadies, him and David produced Split the Chicken, the first single, and we just looked at each other like, oh, it worked. It's like that. But you gotta do the R&D. Like I think that's what I'm most proud of is like we make the music and then immediately go out and test it somewhere. So that's why I've been DJing a lot more too, to just not even to test my records, but to test the records that I really like. That I'm like, man, why ain't nobody listening to this? And you find out it's because they don't know. Like I doing brunch at Matt Horn's spot, and the people are coming up like, hey, bro, are you gonna put this playlist out later? Cause I ain't heard some of these songs. You know what I'm saying? So there really is a space, a discovery that people are yearning for. And so I don't know who said otherwise, but art ain't dead. It's alive and thriving better than ever. We just, as the artists and the curators, we gotta push ourselves to make sure it get to them. So
and even in that DJ space, man, that was your job, was to break records. And now I'll go to I ain't been to the club in forever, but I feel like everything is still copy paste from what it was 10 years ago. And I'm like, that's your platform to bring people into your space, into new worlds. And like I said, the art is there. And even sometimes I fall victim to like, music is in a bad place. But also too, sometimes my level of discovery ain't where it should be. I'm not being as curious as I should be. And I'm not, opening my ears enough. So I always have to make sure that I'm like checking out who people are recommended, or, not just going off of what people are recommending. Also too, because the art is always going to evolve, and there's going to be plenty of it out there. It's just a lot harder to consume because there's so much of it.
It's so much, and it's so much of it. And that's and speaking about the solo and everything that's come, is like, I'm not going to get in my own way and be stagnant or complacent with just posting it once. No, bro, I'm about to post this shit every day. I'm about to hit the text thread. Hey, Chief, listen to this. And spin back a week later. Hey, bro, just let me know. Then making sure, because that's the other part too. It's like, these phones is cool, and you can, if you got a few 100,000 followers, whatever, you can technically kind of reach everybody, but Meta know what they doing with suppressing the algorithm. You gotta pay to really play for real. So don't upload once and then assume the world got it. Like I put it out. No, you ain't dropped nothing, bro. Even radio market label budgets or whatever, but them people wake up every day and get on the phone, get on the email, and make sure that the stuff circulates. So when people start using words like organic and all that shit, no, bro, somebody is working these records. Work these records, bro.
Organic. Yeah, for sure. A couple more things. I want to ask you, like, if there was something that, like in an instance or something that happened that ever knocked, kind of like the wind out of your sails, that made you feel like either one, like, I need to walk away from this music, what's next? Or two, like just sent you in a spiral. And then the second part of that question is, how did you regroup from that? Because I think a lot of people, whether it's just your everyday work or artists, musicians, whatever it is, sometimes these things come at them and they can't rebound from it. And I always want to make sure we leave like
with some solutions,
some solutions, or at least some guidance on, like, it's your personal story, but they might find something in it that's like, okay,
Damn, excellent question, bro. The answer is yes, and multiple times. Like the running joke as an artist is, you really, you probably quit like 30 times a year for real, like regardless. And that don't even matter to success, because we was talking about it off camera, the big more money, more problems. Like, imagine achieving all your dreams and still rationalizing the concept of quitting. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, I did everything I wanted to do and it ain't what I thought it was. I'm about to get out of here. Or it ain't going my way. And so it's dope that we right here. I actually lived right here when I moved right back to Oakland. It's a fire-ass coffee shop right up the street, bro. And we were going to a meeting with Bosco Conte, legendary producer. And I just finished producing Irk's album, so I had laptop, iPad, drum machine. I had everything that meant something to me. I had it on me. 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, get bit. They took everything. And if for people watching that's not from Oakland or from the Bay, bit means like breaking in your car. And in a matter of seconds, I lost everything, or what I was calling
Perceived to be
everything,
everything.
perceiving as
Yeah.
everything. And we went through. It was mania. I won't go into all the details of what we were willing to do to get it back, but cooler heads prevailed, and my brother Jonell kind of pulled us all out of the haze we were in and just getting ready to throw our lives away for proprietary things, essentially. You know what I'm saying? And but it felt like everything I worked for. I mean, I had been to Amsterdam and Berlin and all these different places digging and collecting drums for the last decade, and all that shit was and documented. All of it was on the drives, and I'm just like, what, man?
Yeah.
And we coming out of the fog, and Irk looks at me. He's like, bro, I can't. I know what and it's funny, right? You need somebody that can relate and speaks the same language as you, and that's really my production partner. And he's like, hey man, I know I can't replace none of that shit that's on the drive, but I'm gonna give you everything I got. And we made Communion 1 and 2 in like a matter of like 3-4 days at my crib, because he pulled up every day after that, and we wine, Shorty would cook and all this shit, and we just be in the other room just going crazy, just like upset, but chose to channel it through the music. And out of that, we got so much fire music, and I'll reference that time forever, because I was so hurt because they wanted the laptop and the iPad and shit, but my hard drives, them niggas was probably using as ashtrays or coasters or some shit. They didn't give a fuck about the hard drives, because it may as well be Mandarin. Or to them, like, you gonna plug it in and I got shit labeled as specific, bro. They
Like,
don't give a shit.
right.
So that was the hardest thing, is like something that meant everything to me don't mean nothing to the niggas that got it now. You know what I'm saying? And so, but it was a really good lesson. It was like, yo, you could fold or you could stand, turn up for real. And I'm grateful that I had the support system in the tribe to even go further, because insurance took me on one. OPD made me do my police report online, never came to the scene. My insurance counter claimed me citing fraud because of the high alerts of burglaries in the area. So they like, oh, this got to be fraud. I'm like, wait, what? So it was like the system was letting me down. I'm paying these high ass premiums, and then it just felt like no one was there to protect me. And I was about to settle into that victim mindset, and then my squad came to my rescue, and we just went on one and created from there. And I wouldn't, and that's everybody. I'm learning that everybody isn't fortunate enough to have an abundance of people, but man, I would encourage you, like, don't take your folks for granted, man. Like, it's that talk about that checking in and showing up, like, really pull up on people and have no expectations and not want nothing from them. And I really think that's why I was able to get through that, is because just, how I've continuously just shown up for my tribe and my community, bruh, because when I needed them, everybody was there, type shit. So
Love it. Love it. Last question. Who in the industry, it could be a multiple people
right.
you haven't worked with yet, but you would love to sit down with, any genre, any whatever, like,
Man.
who are a few people that
Kevin from Tame Impala, for sure.
stop? I love
For
Tame
sure, man.
Impala.
That would be like number one, just to really, not even. I don't even want to make nothing. I just want to just be in the room.
Yeah.
I've gained a lot from just being in a room with people and just shutting up. I got to watch Short and Zach. Shout out to Zach, my nigga. He invited Kevin out to the studio, Short's compound in LA, and we just got to just sit there and watch Short's process. And me and Kev went back to the Bay, and we used that shit just because we got to watch him, So like, yeah, Kevin, Childish, Donald Glover and his team, and Ludwig, and that their whole approach to music. I think I could really benefit from for sure. I've said Tyler hella times.
Yeah.
Shout out T-Rail and Back on Fig and them doing the BTS for Q's Blue Lips album, because Q would have been at the top of my list, but they gave us that BTS, so now we got to see his process, and I'm like, oh, I still want to meet him, but after getting to see it, I'm like, damn, that's amazing, you know, and really similar to my process. So I would just want to just kick it. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody hella important. Dallas Austin. Shit, I knew I was forgetting somebody. Dallas Austin, Jermaine. Like I just because of the magnitude of what those hits became. You know, it's like it's the rap records we know, but it's the R&Bs and the TLCs and all that shit that eventually doing things that go well beyond the genre, but they got there because of the genre. Currently, Smino, Doja Cat, damn, I love her. It's a lot of people. I don't want to do
like
that.
A lot,
the list is mad long,
that's
man.
dope,
My bad.
man.
Yeah, it's a lot of hella people I didn't name.
I love it, man. But I appreciate the time. I'm glad we actually finally got to do this.
Y'all see this Sweet Life?
We've been talking about it for a minute.
See this Sweet Life? That shit crazy.
We here, Oakland, California. Sweet Life, Chief, Mani Draper. Stay tuned, man. I think we're gonna have to do more of this, bro. I like the cook up.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man.
You know, shout out to the homie Alex and E40, the Lumpia Company, for opening up the spot to us. Make sure you come check us out. We're in Oakland, signing off.